Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Woohoo! Wow. So, for those of you who have never, ever listened to the Ask Brien Radio Show, you're missing out quite a bit. Each week we have a startup company or CEO or founder or some new idea where we're basically going to teach you a new business lesson each week. And many, many times people ask, why is the show called Ask Brien, especially since my name is Peter, and why would you call the show Ask Brien? And also, they all also ask why Brien is spelled with an E. So the first answer is, when you're trying to get a domain name nowadays, it's very difficult. And to get one with a proper noun, we have the choices of Ask Milt, Ask Hall, or Ask Brien. So we chose Brien, and Brien is spelled with an E. Now, our engineer that also starts with an E is going to explain to people why Brien is spelled with an E. You're on.
All right. Well, there's a couple of words that have to do with Ask Brien that also start with an E. It kind of symbolizes what the show is about. One of them is one of the words we have is experts, because everybody that is on the Ask Brien show is an expert in their field.
What expertise do you have, sir?
Expertise in engineering, sir. Hey-o. Come on.
Oh, that was serious. Okay, go ahead.
He no-sold that one. Anyways, outside of that, there's experience, because everybody here is very experienced in their field. Another one we have is empathy, or in Brian's case, lack thereof, in talking about me being a expert engineer.
I empathize. I just know the truth.
Ouch. Outside of that, we also have effort, because everybody here at Ask Brien puts in more than 100% effort into what we do and what we love. So that works too. Another one we have is my personal favorite one is the engineer, because, you can't run the show without the engineer. That's me.
What about artificial intelligence?
That starts with an A and an I, sir.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't need the engineer. We can just have an A and an I.
But it wouldn't work with the motif. And then
we have no themes here. Go ahead.
I think is the next one enthusiasm, sir?
Well, there's one more.
And you know what? I'll let you take this one, because I know it is.
I am so excited to be on the show. Woo!
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh boy, it's going to be a good one today.
Well, you're not watching Facebook Live, but I have a big coffee from Starbucks.
Oh boy.
And I need the big E that he hasn't mentioned. Energy.
That's a new one.
You gotta add them.
Yeah, I guess we gotta.
Because we use a letter called I, called improvise.
Ooh, I like that.
Wow, big word in the dictionary. Almost as big as when I say it without any further ado. All right, so we have a great show today. We have my co-host, Trey. I saw that. Traci? Traci, are you there?
That's it. I am here, and my middle initial is E for Elizabeth. I just like to throw that in every now and then so I can feel part of the club.
Are you the same person from Bewitched? She was named Elizabeth.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can wiggle my nose, but I don't know if that qualifies for Bewitched or not. There might be some other traits I have that would qualify me, but we won't talk about those in the
Well, besides talking about those, you did twitch your nose, and I'm still here, so it didn't work. So.
Oh, well done. I was so hoping for a different outcome.
You're on. The interview begins. Go. So we have.
No, I'll let you handle it.
We have two guests. I thought there was going to be three, but it looks like two. Song, are we going to have two guests or three today?
So yeah, it'll just be two of us today. It looks like, and then our third team member, Yao, may or may not be able to join in time.
Okay, so we have Song Kim on the line, and
hello.
And the other guest we have is Tom Adamson. Is that correct?
Hello.
Tim.
Tim Adamson here.
All right, Tim. Woohoo! All right, we're ready to go. Rock and roll. So, without any further ado, spell the word.
ADIEU.
All right. So he's not just an engineer, but he knows how to spell. Thank God for spell check. All right. So Song, I wanted to get some background information. You have this company that you and Tim are both working on together. That's correct.
That's right.
And what is your job? What is your title, and what is Tim's title?
Sure. So I am one of the co-founders, and I'm the COO, the Chief Operating Officer. And Tim is also a co-founder, and he is a Chief Technical Officer.
Okay, a lot of chiefs.
Yep, a lot of chiefs here.
You need to have a tribe. If you have a lot, the chief has to have a lot of members. Otherwise, all chiefs, no one doing anything. Let's go over each background. I'm going to go over both of you first. So, the questions to each of you. Song, what is your background, and when did you start the company? And then we're going to ask Tim the same question.
Sure. So my background, I was actually trained as a lawyer, and so I spent my career working at a civil rights nonprofit, working to represent survivors of forced labor, and building programs to increase access to legal services for marginalized immigrant communities in New York City and all over the country. So my background is in the law, it's in nonprofits, but then I went to business school because I realized that the law is powerful, policy is powerful, but sometimes it just doesn't do the job. And so as I was thinking about how to kind of tackle some of these like big global issues that I am interested in tackling, I realized that I needed to learn how to really speak the language of capitalism and learn more about the business world to make the kind of impact that I wanted to. And so I went to business school at the Yale School of Management, and I graduated just this past May with my MBA, and then joined COVIDX a little bit after that.
Wow. And Tim, can you go a little bit about your background?
For sure. So I'm currently doing my PhD at Yale in the computer science department there. My research is mainly in robotics, specifically in human-robot interaction. But we do use a lot of AI and machine learning kind of on a day-to-day basis for the work that we do. And those come in very handy with the company and being the CTO and stuff, and using AI for the diagnosis of blood diseases, specifically sickle cell. Before was starting my PhD at Yale, I was at the University of Washington, and kind of was in Washington and grew up high school in Washington and all that good stuff, and then came to the University of Washington, and then straight from there came over to Yale for grad school.
So, Song, tell us a little bit about the company and how it got founded.
Sure. And actually, I can tell you a little bit about the company, but Tim might actually be better at telling you at how it all started. So we are building an AI-based diagnostic and monitoring tool for sickle cell and other red blood cell diseases. And we started with sickle cell because Yao, our third co-founder who wasn't able to be here today, practiced as a medical doctor in Ghana, and he treated patients with sickle cell, and he saw firsthand the kind of lack of tools available for him to make sure that children born with sickle cell and that patients with sickle cell could have the best sort of treatment and the best prognosis as possible. And so, he has firsthand experience with that. He's also a carrier of the trait, and he has lost family members with sickle cell. And so we're starting with sickle cell because of our very personal connection to the issue. But our product that we're building, we have a vision for it to be used across all red blood cell diseases. We have really promising kind of research around how the product can be used to diagnose malaria, for example. And we think that it can also be used for things like blood cancers and thalassemia and things like that. So that's just on a very broad level what our product does. It will be to make diagnosis available for sickle cell all over the world for folks who are not able to access it currently. And also to help monitor the disease over time so that people living with sickle cell in places like the U.S. where diagnosis isn't a problem, but treatment is, to make their lives a little bit easier.
So sickle cell anemia sickle cell has been around for a while. My question is, what are you guys doing different? And Tim, you can answer this. What is being done differently, other than a regular test? I mean, you can go to the hospital now and you can get tested for that. What are you doing differently?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the current kind of standard of care for sickle cell uses a technique called HB electrophoresis, and it does have pretty high accuracies, but it can take a while to get the test, and it can be pretty unaffordable in developing countries for people that are, making maybe $1 or $2 a day as subsistence farmers. So we're using a new type of microscopy and combining that with AI. And the reason that this is even possible is because of the recent advances in AI, specifically computer vision, which allow us to analyze the images, these like 3D images of the red blood cells, and using those images determine whether or not someone has sickle cell disease, what type of sickle cell, and like Song said, to monitor the health of the red blood cells over the course of time. So it's really been kind of the breakthroughs in AI that have made this a possibility, as well as developments in microscopy and improved microscopes, and specifically the microscope that we have that was designed just for this use case.
So are you saying that it's more accurate and quicker and lower cost?
Yep, lower cost, faster, and I think the accuracy we're expecting will be about comparable because the accuracy on the current systems is very good.
And the testing, how quickly can somebody be tested with your system versus the current system in hospitals, etc.?
Yeah, with the current system, you take the sample of blood and then it's sent to centralized labs, and that could, getting the blood there, it's then run in batches, and then the results are sent out, and that could take a couple of days. It's pretty common. Doing it on our system with a point-of-care device, you can get the results within minutes, even less than minutes. You just take the sample of blood, put it in our proprietary cartridge, the machine images it, processes those images, and then gives you the results right away. There's no transportation. It's all done there locally on the device.
So what is the advantage to the patient, though, of knowing if I find out today on Thursday or I find out on Tuesday, what is the advantage to having your system in place?
I can talk a little bit about that. Oh, do you want to take it, Ken?
Either one.
Go for it, Song.
Okay. So the way the sickle cell diagnosis is done is because of sort of the devastating nature of the disease and because of the difference that being tested at birth makes for the prognosis of someone born with sickle cell. In places like the United States, there's mandated testing across all states for sickle cell when you're born. So if you are born with sickle cell, you know it within the first few days of your life. So what that means is that you know how to take care of it. Typically, you have to be on antibiotics for the first few years of your life. You have to, your parents, your caregivers have to be on high alert, and there are some signs that you can look out for to make sure that they can make it past the first 5 years of life. And once they make it past the first 5 years of life, they are able to live well into adulthood until about their mid-40s is the average life expectancy for someone living with sickle cell in the United States, which is still very, very short. And the kind of treatments available for them in the U.S. even is actually not great. And that's something that we also want to tackle and that we also want to be a tool for with our device as well. In terms of diagnosis in places like sub-Saharan Africa, because again the diagnostics are just too expensive. The HB electrophoresis that Tim was just talking about, it costs between $19 to $63 per test. As Tim mentioned, for most folks living off of less than $1, less than $2 a day, that test is just way out of reach. And so what we're trying to do is to make sure that everyone who is born in sub-Saharan Africa can get tested, just like everyone in the U.S. who is born can be tested. So you asked the question of how, what kind of a difference that can make. Once you know that you have it, once you know that your child has it, there are certain steps that, again, you can take in those first 5 years of life to make sure that they will make it past their childhood and into adulthood that you just won't know to do if you're not able to get diagnosis right away when you're born. So, we think that by making diagnostics available to everyone, we will give everyone just a fair shot at life.
So, Tim, Song said you'd be better at this question. How did this whole come about? How did you guys found this company and et cetera? And how did you get together and create this business?
Yeah. So Yao, as Song mentioned, had practiced as a doctor in Ghana for some years, and then ended up coming to New Haven to work on his master's there because he was interested in doing some more research. So it was during that time that we met, and in talking about entrepreneurship and huge problems in this world that we could work together to solve, we realized that that sickle cell and going after the diagnosis of sickle cell would be, this massive problem that kind of combining our skill sets and backgrounds, we'd be able to tackle. And we realized that we were missing, a key member of the team. We were missing someone who had the business experience and background and know-how in running these things, like companies and stuff. So Song joined the team, and then that's kind of how we ended up with the three of us, all kind of meeting through our connection with New Haven and Yale and stuff. So that's kind of how it all got started, and then we've been running since then.
And Song, when did the company start?
So Yao and Tim have been talking about this idea since before the company itself was fully formed. Yao bringing in his expertise in medicine and Tim in computer science, and just kind of, I think they were just like noodling about the solution since last year, but we were formally incorporated in February of 2020.
Right in time for COVID. Good timing.
Right in, just perfect timing, exactly.
Yep.
That is a very interesting time to have come across that. Now, there are a lot of restrictions with COVID, et cetera, so I'm wondering how that has affected the launching of the business. I mean, do you think you would have been further along had you not had to deal with the COVID crisis? Or did that affect? And either one of you could answer. Mm-hmm. Tim or Song.
I can talk a little bit about it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it has made some things harder, specifically in getting materials needed for working on the prototype, improving the prototype that we have, and as we're fabricating these blood collection cartridges, that's been more challenging with various labs being shut down because of COVID. But on kind of what we ended up doing was Yao ended up building the lab in his apartment. So when the labs closed down and he couldn't get access to anywhere to build these blood collection cartridges that we needed, we ordered the equipment needed, and Yao set it up in his apartment to actually just do it there. So it has required more kind of thinking and planning and strategizing on how to get around some of these challenges, but we have been able to really put in the effort and get things done.
And we have about 30 seconds left. Did you have anything to add to that, Song? Or?
Yeah. So I think in some sense, COVID has slowed us down, or COVID has made things more challenging, or we've had to think of creative solutions like Yao building the device in his apartment. But on some other fronts, I think COVID has actually made lives easier for us, and for that we're grateful. So, for example, we've been meeting with investors from all over the country, and whereas before COVID, I think we would have been expected to fly out and spend all of this time and money and resources flying around the country to meet with folks. We're now able to do it from our apartment. We're able to access so many more amazing people who have been really helpful in our journey that we would not have been able to had it not been for COVID and the expectation that we all sort of stay put. And so despite the challenges, we've been doing our best to make it work and to do the best that we can during this time.
Well, great. We're going to be taking a break. We'll be right back. KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM.
I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank. I'm here today to let you know that Mission Valley Bank has relocated our Center Point branch office. The new facility is 26701 McBean Parkway, directly across the street from the town center. We're very excited about this new modern and updated branch facility that we think is better situated to serve our growing number of small business clients. On behalf of myself and the entire Mission Valley Bank team, we're wishing you a very happy holiday season.
If you need help at home or at the office, call Made For You. Made For You is a locally owned, bonded, and licensed cleaning service with over 20 years of experience. All employees are vetted for your protection. No need to buy products or equipment. The Made For You staff comes complete with everything needed to make your home or office cleaner than ever. Hire Made For You one time, as needed, or an ongoing basis. No room is off limits. Laundry and ironing services are also available. Call Made For You for a free estimate. 255-2922. That's 255-2922. If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Step into a hot shower or slip on a warm t-shirt fresh from the dryer, and you can feel the comfort natural gas gives us every day. For over 100 years, Southern California Gas Company has provided safe, reliable natural gas service. It warms our homes, powers cleaner vehicles, and cooks our food at a fraction of the cost of other energy sources with less environmental impact, today and for decades to come. Natural gas, part of the clean energy solution. Learn more at SoCalGas.com. Search solution.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. So we've got a great show. By the way, next week is Christmas Eve, so we're not going to be around. And our engineer said we have to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. What else you got?
And a Happy New Year.
No, that's the week after. That's the week after.
I mean, I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong. It's just, that's for the December 31st show. We're talking about December 24th, but that's okay.
Well, I think after this year, we could start with Happy New Year at any point in time.
Don't worry, the engineer's a
Amen
little
to that.
because he's an engineer, he's a little slow, so we have to understand that concept. So you can't really tackle it.
Jeez.
Yeah, there's no empathy or even though kindness doesn't start with an E, there's no kindness in that statement, by the way.
Not at all, no.
But I am a New Yorker, and we do believe in sarcasm.
Oh, okay.
It's still not kindness, no.
You can't have everything.
All right. So I would like to welcome our guests back after the break. And
Well, you have to
give Patty a little
you have
break.
to scream their name, Traci.
No, I don't. No, I don't have to do that. But I will say, I think, I'm fascinated by your business. I love the heart-centered aspect of your mission. Let's talk about funding. So this seems not an inexpensive venture. It seems like that this, in theory, is obviously really making an impact in not just theoretically speaking, but is making an impact. What about funding? Did you have to go outside of the three of you as partners to obtain funds, or have you self-funded the project?
So we've raised venture capital funding as well as received some grants from both like the universities that we're affiliated with as well as the government. And so we have a blend of both venture funding as well as grants.
And was that difficult to let's start with the grant. So the grant funding, and just to help our listeners who are in the position to access the possibility of grant funding, can you talk a little bit about that process and how that worked? And is that money that you have to give back, or do they have participation and ownership with grants? How does that work?
Yeah, so the beauty of grant funding is that it's non-dilutive funding, so they don't take any equity in our company. We apply, and I guess every grant looks sort of different, but the idea is that the money would come to us as like an award, and we don't have to worry about giving it back, so they're a little bit different from investors in that way.
So did you go for grant funding before you went for VC, or did you parallel track that funding process?
Tim, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we started off with a grant with the Bio Pipeline Fund from the Connecticut Innovation, and that was really helpful, getting this money even to get things started and getting things off the ground. And then from there, we started having conversations with VCs as we were kind of developing our prototype and starting to, just execute and make progress and move forward. And the VCs saw what we were doing and were interested in getting on board. So then we started opened our pre-seed round of funding and ended up getting $100,000 for that. And then that combined with the grant money we had received and then a few other grants that we received later on kind of ended up being the totality of our pre-seed round, which has then been enough money to fund our research and everything we're working on now to kind of get us into the next round, and which will be kind of a few months down the road.
Yeah, and that's so exciting, and very rarely I think can businesses say that VCs became interested in us. Usually it's like the other way around, where you're trying to tap into and get their interest in you. So kudos on that for sure. So what type of so with your process, you have some proprietary technology, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And so did you have to get patents then on that proprietary technology?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's we have an exclusive patent option on a very specific microscope that we realized was kind of in many ways like the microscope that we needed to make this work. It was designed to work in more rugged environments, to be more robust, to be more affordable. And so we found a specific microscope and got an exclusive patent option on it. And then we also have a provisional patent for the system as a whole and the process and kind of the use case that we have. But then the IP strategy is kind of even more extensive than that, because as we do data collection and start collecting, hundreds of thousands up, and into millions of images of red blood cells and white blood cells and stuff, then those images, are a really valuable asset in training these models, which are, I guess, also part of our IP strategy as we develop new models to process and new AI to kind of, understand this new type of data that we're collecting.
Did you find that to be a challenging process to apply for the patents? And do you have any tips for our listeners if they were in that position, like maybe a do and a don't? We
were able to find just a really amazing legal firm, which has been really helpful in, I guess, for a variety of things, but especially in applying for the patents. And I think that's one of the things that's really nice about being a startup is there are a lot of, companies and legal firms that are willing to help startups out because they know that you're young and getting started and just taking things off the ground. So a lot of times there'll be like a discounted rate for startups with the hope of developing this relationship that then, in the years to come leads to them getting more, more work and customers and stuff. So we were able to kind of get a great law firm to help us with the patent process at a really low cost, which was, just a great deal for us.
And I would say the takeaway from that would absolutely be that in a situation as important as what you're creating with the intellectual property and with the patents is that don't try to do that part yourself, right? That seeking professional counsel for that is incredibly important piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So let's talk about the name, Cova DX. How did that evolve?
You want to talk about that song, or should I go into it?
I think you should talk about it, Tim.
Okay.
I think we have a cool story for the name. Yeah.
Yeah, I am 50% Estonian myself. I mean, we have a pretty diverse kind of ethnic backgrounds on our team, but I'm 50% Estonian. And so when we were trying to pick a name for the company, we were thinking of something, a really powerful word, a really powerful name that came from one of our languages, and that just kind of like resonated with what we were doing. So we were thinking of different options and stuff, and talking as a team, and we kind of came across Cova because it was a little bit less common. It's not one that you find all over the internet kind of thing, but in Estonian it means like strength or resilience, and we felt like that was a pretty good word for kind of the team that we wanted to build, the company that we were working to build, and what we were together working for and working towards. So that's kind of why we ended up picking it. And I mean, it was nice too that the domain wasn't taken, which is always something you're thinking about, when building the company and launching and stuff. So.
And so, what about your branding? Because you have a really cool logo that goes along with your name.
Yeah. I guess we were kind of worked with a graphic designer on that and got a bunch of ideas from the graphic designer talking about, telling them what our company's about and what we do and just kind of letting them know about the company, and then got a bunch of options, and then we ended up kind of narrowing it down and then picking our favorite one to end up being our official logo.
Yeah, it's great. So, of course, I'm going to ask you about your marketing strategy because that's the place in the universe that I always come from. And so is the end consumer for this B2B or B2C?
Song, why don't you answer that?
Yeah, so the end consumer, so we will be taking a B2B and then a B2B2C approach. So we're still in kind of figuring out product market fit. We want to make sure that these devices are for sure, right, like at clinics and hospitals in sub-Saharan Africa. But we also want to make sure that they're here in emergency rooms. We want to see that they're in research institutions. And so there's actually a ton of different kind of applications for our device and different ways we're thinking about going to market with the device. In terms of like marketing, right, it's not the same type of marketing where we would do like, email campaigns or have like a social media campaign or something like that, just given the very niche specific nature of our products. Our marketing and in terms of like targeting the sales and whatnot will look very, very different because, for example, when we're selling to sub-Saharan Africa, again, trying to get it into clinics in rural areas that just don't have access to diagnostics, we will have to work directly with governments, for example, because the healthcare is public. And so we will be working directly with governments, and marketing to governments, right, looks very, very different than marketing to even like hospitals here in the U.S. And so we are thinking strategically about the very different subsets of our not only end users and not only our beneficiaries, but also the people who will be making the purchasing decisions and things like that. In terms of where we are with our marketing strategy currently is because we're still sort of working on our product. We don't have the final commercializable product yet. and we won't for some time. That will come after we do our next kind of round of fundraising and making the product into something that is like the right kind of size and price and all of that to be actually commercialized. We want to build up our brand right now. And so we are, redoing our website, and we're sort of redoing our social media presence and all of that to really just communicate our vision. So we didn't come into this business because we were like, okay, what is a product that doesn't exist right now that we can make money off of, right? The reason the three of us came together is because we're really passionate about addressing some of the starkest disparities in health today, both globally and here in the U.S. And so we have, a mission and a vision to sort of really address that, and we want that to come out in our branding even before we have our final product that we'll be marketing and selling to our users. So
I love your tagline or how you present this in a succinct way on your site is that it's real lives, real people, real help. And that's very powerful in how you're positioning that. How about I love when I see a company that has a really strong advisory board. Your advisory board is, power-packed with MBAs, PhDs, MDs. How much have they contributed to the success of the growth of the company? And how do you work with your advisory board?
I can start. I think we would be lost without our advisory board. The three of us come at this from very different, diverse backgrounds. Tim is a computer scientist. Yao is a medical doctor. I'm a lawyer, and none of us have built successful medical device companies in our past, and so it was really, really crucial for us to have folks in our corner who will not just be rooting for us, but sending us the right connections and really providing us specific practical guidance every step of the way. We just had a call with our business advisor, who was the former CEO of Bayer, and he's amazing. Every time we have a phone call with him, I just feel like I've taken, 3 years of business school classes or something, because he just comes with so much knowledge, and not just like classroom knowledge, but practical ways to implement and practical ways to do research and practical ways to move our company forward. So
you have a good mix of business advisors and scientific advisors, correct?
That's correct.
That has to be, you have to feel like you're supported in a really good way with having that amongst you and really, being there for you when you're having your growing pains, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, and speaking of growing pains, what would be, maybe you guys can both answer this for yourself personally, what has been one of the biggest challenges for you personally in the launch and growth acceleration of the company?
Great question.
Yeah, who's going to go first on this one?
It'll be easy because we have about 20 seconds.
Oh, you have 20 seconds so you could think about it, and then you can come back and answer it, because you're real people, real lives. We're real talk. Real talk here.
Absolutely.
But we're not fake.
No, we're real lives talking about real people's lives.
Don't worry, the engineer has
Love that.
Engineer has 10 questions when we come back. We'll be right back. KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM.
When you're looking for a midnight snack, sometimes fast food just doesn't cut it. California Bakery and Cafe is open 24/7, so you'll be able to find fresh donuts, danishes, bagels, all-natural fruit juices, gourmet sandwiches, and much more at any hour. With elaborate cakes for any occasion, including weddings, baptisms, anniversaries, corporate events, or any special event. California Bakery and Cafe in Santa Clarita is open 24 hours to satisfy any craving, anytime. Call us 255-1254. That's 255-1254.
This is Bradley from Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to 4,465 families in the SCV. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Center Point Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or our Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 661-425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
You worry because your mom and dad aren't as active and are finding it more challenging to live on their own. The answer? Premier Assisted Living Community, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, now leasing. Located on Newhall Ranch Road, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, bringing comfort and luxury to assisted living. Your parents can enjoy 5-star amenities and panoramic views in a world-class community. No other assisted living community has this kind of luxury and amenities in our valley. Visit oakmontofsantaclarita.com.
This holiday music is brought to you by Providence Holy Cross Medical Center, your community health partner. To learn more about their award-winning care, call 1-888-HEALING or visit online at providence.org/holycross.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM with our co-host, Traci. I don't know what he's doing there with that little button there. And so...
Whew. So,
I don't know what's going on here. And Tim.
Before the break, we were
That feels amazing.
So there was a question. There was a question I had, and then Traci had a couple questions more. And how did you get your first customer?
Should we? I can give my my real talk answer to challenges that I've had, and then also talk about customer.
Yes,
if that works.
She nailed you on that one.
Don't even start. Don't even start. If we're gonna have a tit for tat show, it's gonna be Song and Peter going off for the next 5 minutes. Bring it on! Bring it on!
I finally get some respect.
It won't last long, Traci. There's always next week.
I know. It probably won't even last a minute. So let's not waste another minute. What are the personal challenges you guys face? Let's get this out there.
Yeah.
Besides this radio show. Go ahead.
Yes, definitely.
I can start. So, honestly, working on this startup has been so much fun, and it's been so fulfilling, if I'm completely honest. And it's been such a dream to work with Tim and Yao, and getting to talk about the issue and getting to talk about our company has been so much fun. But it has taken up a lot of my time. It has been a lot of my time for not really pay, right? And so I feel like more than the challenges on me directly, I think that like my partner has had to make a lot of sacrifices. Like my family feels a little bit nervous for me because they're like, well, you know, they wish that I was doing something a little bit more stable and, you know, because a startup, right, a medical technology startup in our first few months of operation doesn't scream stability. And so I think my family worries about me a little bit. I know that my partner does a great job of, you know, cooking me like 2-3 meals a day, putting vitamins on my table, making sure that I'm you know, healthy and taken care of. And so I think just feeling kind of sorry, I guess, to the people around me has honestly been some of my like biggest kind of personal challenges. But working on the company in and of itself has been really, really wonderful.
How about you, Tim?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I definitely agree with Song in that it really does take a lot of time and a lot of effort. And, you know, it's kind of like the startup is always what's on your mind, whether, you know, you're making lunch or just going about, you know, walking to the store, whatever it is. And it can feel like, you know, friendships and I mean, I guess that's also hard with COVID, but yeah, even without COVID, like, you know, keeping up with friendships and other things going on in life, social activities and stuff, it can sometimes feel like it's hard to do those because the company, you know, we have to do this really urgently or we have to do that or this. And so, yeah, kind of balancing everything, still having both the work but also the life balance. That's still a real challenge and still a work in progress in many ways.
How can people get in contact with either of you?
So please feel free to, first of all, visit our website. It's www.covadx.com. We also have a presence on Instagram and LinkedIn, and you should feel free to email us. So my email is song, like S-O-N-G, singing a song, at covadx.com. And Tim's is, I don't know if you want to share yours, Tim.
Yep, it's Tim at covadx.com.
And our engineer's already trying to hack in and trying to send out 10,000 Instagram letters, and he said he's going to stalk you for the rest of your life. So sorry about that, but that's part of being on the Ask Brien Radio Show.
Does she have time to tell us how she got her first customer?
Well, we've got about 20 seconds, so.
20 seconds, go.
Okay, 20 seconds. I mean, long story short, we don't have a commercializable product just yet, and with the nature of our devices, the nature of medical technology devices, and the amount of time that it takes, we have yet to. We're about at least a year out from our first customer.
Thank you very much.
Even without a first customer.
Thank you very much. You're listening to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM.
Awesome.